Hey folks, hope you're doing good today. Man, we're flying through the week as we normally do on this channel. Really enjoyed all those bands yesterday though. Horror punk, it's not a genre I know very well, but I'll tell you, the more I listen to it, the more I enjoy it and like it. It's got a really cool vibe to it, and because I haven't heard a lot of it, my ears kind of want to hear more of it. So hopefully we'll get some more horror punk bands on this year. It is a style of genre I want to get more to know, you know. Today we've got a great friend of the channel back on again, James from the UK with his band, one-man band, Cincinatti Bowtie. If you want to know what I think about this guy, I've talked about him quite a lot last year. So just put his name into my channel and there's a bunch of videos of me talking about him, talking about his one-man band and how I think he's going to get on great this year because this guy is hungry for it. He's got the passion. He's a one-man band, does it all himself, all the mixing and recording and everything himself as well, and always puts out a high quality video with every track that he puts out, and it's done himself, normally in his living room. Not that you'd know it because it looks like a high quality deathcore video. Thinks about the lighting, thinks everyone's different, and you know, he thinks of a theme for each video and stuff like that. This guy's killing it. I love him. I've got his cap on, and I'm really happy to support this guy. I think he's really cool. Now, what I wanted to do before we get into his track today, I've just been looking at the comments on this video. He got this uploaded to the circle bit, which is cool. It's got a bunch of views, bunch of likes and all the rest of it, but there's some comments on here. Most of them are really great comments, but there's one on here. Just get it on the screen. It says the vocals are good, but the instrumental doesn't really know what to do with itself and there's no solid riffs, just a breakdown and dissonant leads. Kudos for a cool band name though, work on the guitars and shit will be tight, which, you know, is a constructive criticism, and he has put on here as well, thanks for the feedback, which is dope, and the guys obviously liked it as well. So, you know, he can take the feedback as well. So we're going to keep an eye out for that on this track. Does the instrumental not really know what to do with itself and there's no solid riffs, just a breakdown and dissonant leads? You know, we'll have to just keep an eye out for that. So this track, if we want to scroll back up to the top, is called Entangled in Consternation. As I say, he's always got an official vid to go with his stuff. I love it. Let's check this one out. Nearly 5 minutes. Great mix on this one, really heavy. There was a point last year, I think it was, this guy reached out to me and said, "Oh, I see you do mixing and stuff. Would you be interested in doing my mixing on this record?" And he sent over one of his tracks that he had already mixed. We'd already heard a couple of his tracks anyway. I said to him, "Dude, do it yourself." I talked myself out of doing, getting some money out of him, but I didn't want to do it for him because this guy is nailing his mix, and this mix is better than I could do for this kind of music. He's already passed me, in like 6 months, because he's been pounding away at it, and this mix was super great. And one thing that he's really done nicely on this one is the bassy low end. It sounded absolutely great, and it gave the mix a different kind of tone to a typical deathcore track. I thought this track actually had some alt metal vibes in it, like heavy alt metal, almost nu metal edges in there as well. It wasn't, to me, a typical deathcore track. The riffs, it wasn't as chuggy and kind of deathcore-y in that way. With the open string kind of riffs and stuff, that's alty in my book. That's what my ears were saying to me anyway. So I thought this guy would move his sound on in a different way. Now I was trying to bear in mind that comment, and let's just remind ourselves what it did say, because it was a good comment. I thought it was a decent comment. Vocals are good. The vocals were very good. The gravelly, raspy, just bubbliness at the back of his throat came straight through the mic with a clarity. It grizzled over the mix, sounded great. So it's not lying, the vocals were great. The instrumental doesn't really know what to do with itself, and there's no solid riffs, just a breakdown and dissonant leads. Now I'm going to agree that there weren't any solid riffs in a deathcore sense, and that's why I didn't really get a super deathcore-y vibe from this one. And if someone was looking for deathcore, yeah, you want a more chuggy kind of riff in there. What I think he could have done to make his riffs more interesting is he had that kind of and on those fill bits, I think he could have spiced those up, made those interesting. He had some pinch harmonics in there, but just kind of could have done a bit more with that section, because those are the bits within a riff that you can spice up, change up each time, and that will make it interesting for the listener, So you could have had wait, and a fucking squeal and all that kind of stuff, So that would have been one way to just make these riffs a bit more interesting and spicy. But actually, I felt that this track wasn't a super guitar-driven riff chug kind of deathcore track. It was more, it had more of a bounce and was more alty in the guitar riffs. It had that big bassy low end, which wasn't a tight low end. It was actually quite a kind of hummy, soft low end. It wasn't super distorted and grisly and nasty, and that it gave the track a warmth, which is, deathcore isn't known for its warmth. It's very harsh and stabby and grisly in that way. So I thought the sound in this one sounded absolutely great. It was heavy as hell. The drums sounded amazing. Had really cool drum sections in there, lots of little tings on the ride, which was really nice as well. And because the mix was just so heavy and just well done, I enjoyed it for that, because it was a great sound, and vocals are super heavy. So yeah, I agree with the guy that said the comment, that if you could have more rememberable riffs and chuggy riffs and kind of that in there. But I didn't really miss that personally. That wouldn't have come to mind. If I hadn't read that comment, that wouldn't have necessarily been a constructive criticism that would have come to my mind, because I was focusing more on the bass and the drums and the vocals as well. And because those all sounded so great, the fact that it didn't have super original or really rememberable guitarists in there, they were only kind of, 25% of the music anyway. The bass filled in the mix just as much as the guitars did, and the vocals did as well, and the drums did as well. So it wasn't, for me, the main focus actually of this track. So there you go. Just shows people look at music differently, and what catches some people's ear doesn't catch other people's ear. What certain people focus on and want to look for within a track is different for everyone. You know, music's totally subjective in that way. So I think it was interesting that we read that comment, and you know, had that, but bear that in mind while we were listening to the track and see if we agree with it. I agree with it to an extent, but for me personally, the overall sound was so good and loud and heavy and just sounded great that took my attention rather than mainly focusing on guitar-driven guitar riffs. So there you go. That's what I've got to talk about today. Love having this guy on the channel. I just know this guy's going to have a great year, and this latest track with his newest mix, which sounds really, really great, and it sounds better than his last mixes did. Keep up that nice bassy low end. Well, I'm sure he's mixed all his album and everything already. Now it's all ready to go. So maybe he'll have some more stuff for us soon to check out as well. But man, it's sounding great, and I'll go off and check out the rest of this album just to make sure. Very, very nice. Always love checking this guy out. He just steps it up every time. Sick. See you around, guys. Bye.